Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Gaming Podcast. Once again, I'm Bradley, and Stu's been sitting there working out the question. If some months have 30 days and other months have 31, how many have 28 days? When people say one, they're actually correct because of the way the question's worded. Because it doesn't say all months have 30 days bar one. No, it does not. So the question allows you just to say 1 day. I know that's been eating at you, Stu. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Other than that, obviously plaguing me for, months, if not years. So yeah, mental effort on that one.
Yeah, it's do you know those what they call them? They call them not teasers, riddles. They call them in America. These ones, that's what they are. They're riddles.
Yeah.
All those questions, such as a father and his son were in a car crash and the father died. They rushed the son to the hospital and the surgeon went, "Oh, I can't operate on them. That's my son. How is this possible?" Kind of thing. Most normal people go, "Well, it's because it's his mum, clearly." And other people go, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe they were switched at birth." And it's like, no, it's his mum, and stuff like that. You get all those weird questions and sort of stuff like that. It's kind of I kind of got to a point where I kind of got obsessed with them recently, and I was going, they're just worded badly so that they're meant to confuse you.
Yes.
So when people give the wrong answer and get belittled for it at times, that's not a bad thing. Because I remember seeing there was a thing about gender equality on a TV program, and it might have been the news, and they sent someone out to do some vox pops. They asked that surgeon question. And it was like to go, oh, look how so many people are geared towards this as a man's job rather than a woman's job. But when you hear the question being asked, they emphasise the he and him in the question.
Right.
So that when you actually come round to answer it, in your head, subconsciously, all you've got is he, him, male. It's because it really is. They go, a father and his son are killed in a car crash and the father died, and it's really emphasizing the male part, so you just kind of go, yeah, it's the way it's worded, it's designed in that way, so you can't gain anything. But yeah, that was eating away at me for a while.
Yeah, no, it goes all the way back to the when I was going to St. Ives. You remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like, the 7 wives have 7 cats, the 7 cats have 7 hats or whatever. And it's just like, how many were going to say, yeah, just the one that you were talking about. But it's phrased in a way that if you're not like on the ball, if you're not paying attention, then you miss it. But like you said, it's geared to trick you. It's there to trick you. So it's a kind of a comprehension test, but an unfair comprehension test.
Yeah, definitely. But something that does need comprehension is a good video game, Stu. Segway
indeed.
Segway.
Yeah,
I think that's a segue.
Yeah. Definitely.
What have you been playing?
So I've actually got a stack of stuff to talk about and not played any of them this week, yet they are all quite recent. So that's another tongue-twisting
I was going to say, it's another riddle.
Yeah, you see, it all ties in.
Is the answer, no, it's made out of glass?
Should be, because that would be excellent, but no. So there's a few that are really worth talking about, actually. The first one is Super Bomberman R Online.
I've not played this one yet.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting one to talk about, because it's like putting I don't know who the best team at Euros is. I've watched a few of the games. Probably Italy are the best. So it's like putting Italy on the pitch against somebody fairly minor. Let's call
England.
England. Oh yeah. I was going to say Macedonia, but they would probably pick England. So yeah, we'll put mediocre like England, and then all they do is turn around and score own goals and nothing else, because they've put it together so that it's like Tetris 99 and Pac-Man, whatever that one's called. And it's the classic Bomberman game with a few new quirks, but nothing that destroys the core experience. It does have a paywall if you want to really kind of engage with it properly, but that's only $7.99. So that's like, oh, okay, it's cheeky that you have to play. They advertise it as free, but you have to really pay. Yeah, but it's $7.99. Think of it as a paid game, and you're laughing on that level. All right. So you get in, you do that, and then it takes 3 minutes to load between stages, between games, and it absolutely kills it. And like I've done this, I started off on my Switch, and it was 3 minutes. And the Switch is like the least powered device I have. And then I went to my PC, which is the most powerful device I have, running off an NVMe M2 SSD, so it can do like 3 gigs per second. Yeah. And that still took 3 minutes. So it's not a technical thing. Well, it is, but it's on their side, and it totally ruins it. And I'm not exaggerating. It like there is literally no point for me. I mean, maybe if you're like 10 and you got nothing else to do in your free time, but anyone over the age of 10 is going to go, sod this. I'm not like, because you can get into it. It doesn't allow you to like die immediately like a first person shooter. You know, it's got things in place that mean that you're in it for about a minute, or at least I think it's about a minute, you know.
No, you've done me there. No way should a loading take longer than the time you're in a game.
I was gonna say,
Never.
you know, if you have a great run, you might do what, I don't know, 5 minutes. I've never got that far, but you're gonna be spending at the very, very best 50% of your time in loading screens, and at worst, you're going to be spending 90% or more of it. In the loading screen. That's insane. It's not even a game when you have to wait that long.
It's still Konami, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's a dev team running it that isn't them. But I mean,
the servers are probably being run by a 90-year-old Japanese grandma playing a pachinko machine.
Exactly. Yeah. They probably let like all of the internets that they've got dribble down through a pachinko slot.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so a good game totally ruined by its implementation.
So I've got always plans in my head. You know me, Stu. I've got plans coming out of every orifice.
The wazoo is the technical term.
That's the word. I couldn't think of it. And it's one of the plans. One of the ones I want to do is based on watching. Have you ever watched Scott the Woz on YouTube?
No.
He's interesting. I like him. He talks about loads of random video game stuff. He's only young, but he talks about loads of retro stuff. And he talks about things like video game cases and special controllers. And he's a really entertaining guy. Anyway, I'm thinking, right, what I actually want to talk about, I want to do a series based that I want to call Money Left on the Table, where you just look at an idea, you just go, do this. It's free money. It prints money for you. So I want to talk about why have they not put Call of Duty on the Switch? Right, it might not be for everyone, but why have they not just got? I'll tell you what. Let's do the original Modern Warfare trilogy, which ran on a 360, so will run on a Switch. Put that out there, free money. If it works, whatever. Put Call of Duty Mobile on a Switch, using the mobile graphics. See how it runs. Probably, most likely, free money, and test the waters for future adaptations. One of them is this Bomberman R Online. It's got a new graphics. As far as I'm aware, it uses the graphics of Super Bomberman R. Now, I'm looking at it and going, use the SNES graphics. Take that side out of it, use the SNES graphics. Do that. Probably be able to cut down on loading in the visual side of it and everything. And it was a really incredibly simple game that loaded quickly back in the day from what I can remember. Base it around that. Print money, away you go, and just allow people then to maybe to do different style skins and stuff like that for it, maybe character skins like they do for Fall Guys. But yeah, I was kind of looking at it initially, but I heard about the loading and I was like, no, I'm out. I'll get distracted. 3 minutes of loading and I didn't realise the gameplay was so short either, which is a shame.
Yeah. Basically, I got not only got distracted, I was distracted to the point of tears. It was just horrible. But yeah, no, having a SNES skin would be a really good idea. It's funny because they, Pac-Man Championship Edition. I can't remember if they ever ended up with extra skins for that, but they definitely did in the sequel. And it's just like, why have you not learnt that lesson? You know, everything with Bomberman R Online seems to be done on the cheap and slapdash, and just without any thought, care, or attention put into it at all.
every single retro game that they decide to remake basically needs to look at two examples. Pac-Man Championship Edition, DX, whatever, but either any of the Championship editions of the first game. Look at that, or Space Invaders Extreme.
Yes.
Look at those two. That's how you bring an old classic into the modern world. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
Winner. Yeah. Or Shatter for Breakout, by the way. That was really good. That was a really good game. But yeah, look at those two examples. If you are not meeting that, go back to the drawing board. And you don't even need to do that for a new Bomberman. The SNES game was perfection. Absolute perfection. So yeah, it's a shame. Konami missed opportunity. What can you say? That's their ethos now. Bomberman will probably become a pachinko machine.
It is crazy. Yeah, it's totally like I say an own goal. Yeah. So what about you? What have you been playing?
So I'm going to start off with a bit of a negative. Both, I suppose, almost figuratively and literally. I've been playing Death Crown. I think. Let me just double check. It was called Death Crown because it was Death something. I've had a lot of games called Death of late, and I nearly got it with mixed up with something else. So there's some top quality stuff because I double checked this just before we started recording, but because of my ADHD, I forgot what it was called. Yeah, Death Crown. It was Death Crown because I was thinking, what's that? Dragon's Crown. I was thinking of what's the one with the big boobs and the big chested fellas.
Yeah, Dragon's Crown. Yeah,
Dragon's Crown. Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was trying to get that out of my head, and then I was right, and now I've just gone back to thinking of Dragon's Crown. That's a really good game, but I want to see that on the Switch. But anyway, Death Crown. It's it's like a really basic strategy type game, very minimalistic. So you've got this and it took me ages to play this because of my eyesight previously, and then I played it, and now I've got eye issues again, which we'll come to in a little bit. You get this world; it's like this white background with this very basic, out ink almost style drawing that goes over the top. You place your cards or characters down on this hexagonal grid, and then when you place one down, it grows the area. You can put more and stuff like that, and you advance on the enemy. And then what you do is you put others down that can attack, others that defend, and then you say to I want this attacker to attack over there and stuff like that. And the idea is to put all the attacks in on the enemy. Very, very basic stuff, very minimalistic. And I played it, and the first couple of goes I played, it doesn't really do much in terms of explanation, by the way. But anyway, played it, first few goes, really enjoyed it. I found myself going, I like this. I really do like it. It's a nice concept. It's simple to pick up and play. And then, I don't know, it's just got bored. Within about half hour playing it, I just got bored.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's short games. The matches take a few minutes. And it's like nice quick turnover. The pace on it's really good. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. But, yeah, I just got bored, and I don't know why, and I don't know if it's the game or if it's me. So I did check a few other reviews afterwards, and generally the consensus is people didn't like it, but other people didn't like it not for the reasons I didn't like it. I liked it, I just got bored. But I almost feel like it'd be better as, and it's not often I'll say this, it'd be better as a mobile game,
right?
One that if I'm sat at a bus stop or on the bus for 20 minutes, I'll pick it up. But when I'm looking at the Switch and I'm sitting there and I've got Solitaire Conspiracy to play, which we'll come to in a little bit. When I've got one day soon, I'm going to have Spelunky to play on it. When I've got Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99, when I've got the Mario games all sat there, it's not the sort of game I'm going to play on the Switch. So for the first time, you'll hear me say, it's not ideal for the Switch. But I'd happily have paid like $2.99 for it on mobile as a full game, and then just 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, if that 5 minutes. But yeah, just not on the Switch, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, there's so many ways to approach like your game these days, and I think one thing that we may have lost out on a little bit in the in the sort of general sort of desktop and handheld style console thing, is not playing to a machine's strengths because you want to get it across as many as possible. And, like mobile games, because they don't have controllers, they have to focus on that.
Yeah.
So the good ones, are both very specific to mobile gaming, but also good games. And obviously there's so much garbage on mobile, but the good ones really stand out for that reason. But yeah, the games that really stand out on console, even the really good ones, tend to have quite generic controls, and that's definitely one thing that's a barrier to progress, I feel, because there's nobody really kind of pushing that forward at the moment, because the last time it was done in the mainstream was like the Wii and the Wii U, and it's not really happened with the Switch. So yeah, I don't know really where I'm going with this, but
no, but you're right. It's in all fairness to developers, they've made this game. It's not been made for mobiles. It's not as if it's a game that's been ported from mobile and then put on the Switch for the sake of it. It was made for PC consoles. It's honestly, I can see why they've done it, because you probably don't want to be known as a mobile developer at the moment because it's still a toxic wasteland. But for me, that's just where it would have been better. I'm looking at it. I can't remember if it's on Xbox and PS4 or anything. We should just say Xbox and PlayStation platforms from here on in, shouldn't we, really? So as not to... But anyway.
I guess so, yeah.
And it's on PC, definitely. And again, you look at it and you look at what else you've got available on Steam. It should be a mobile game. And I mean, I paid for a mobile game, no microtransactions, and it would be so much better. I love the art style. I love the concept, but there's just not enough there for me to take it forward. When I look at games like Tidy Metal, which do the Advanced Wars strategy style thing, and Wargroove, and other sort of like strategy-based games, they do it. There's enough content there to do it. So when you do a minimalistic version of it, you've got to have enough content there to compete with those, and it's just not. But as a pick up and play, great. Just not as a full console experience, which the Switch is, unfortunately. DSiWare or an eShop exclusive on the 3DS, again, probably would have worked brilliantly. But the Switch is kind of a full console. I know, I play it mainly handheld, and you do get a lot of indie experiences on there, and it's a good game on platform.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. That was me saying a lot of yes.
I like it when people agree with me.
Yeah, it's agreeable.
Or just nod along, either or, I don't mind.
I sit here shaking my head, but you can't see that, so that's good. Yeah,
your mouth says yes, but your eyes are saying, Christ, no.
You got it. No, that's not true. The next thing I've been playing is one that kind of came up on my radar a little while ago, and then I totally forgot about, and then it was in a sale, and it's because I put it on my wish list. It was the only reason that I remembered it, hence why wish lists are a brilliant idea. And it was on Steam, and it's called Speed Limit. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
So it's a retro pastiche type game. It's basically like a bunch of arcade games of the past thrown together in a kind of modern style, in that, it's a bit sort of roguelike-y, only in that it restarts instantly and stuff like that, rather than having lives. It's not really like roguelike even.
More like a kind of shooter version of Trials.
Yes, that sort of thing. Yeah. And basically what you do is you start off in a train carriage. You're just a regular bloke just standing there, and another bloke comes in, dies and falls in front of you, and he's got a gun in his hand, and the gun drops to the floor, and just as you're trying to work out what's going on, a load of terrorist looking kind of guys burst in and start shooting at you, and you pick up the gun and shoot back. And it's just like that, and then you're running along, and you've got to jump over carriage gaps in the carriages and stuff like that, and return fire, and then helicopters attack you, and it's all really intense and it's really difficult. And then you complete that stage, and it moves on to one where you're in a side-scrolling car game where you're shooting at people, and then there's a vertical one that's a bit like Spy Hunter, and it just carries on like that, insanely difficult. and it's all about like incremental improvements and progress each time. And there's no depth to it. It's completely superficial. It's designed to be superficial, designed to be stupidly hard. And it's just meant to be played in really short bursts. And it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like the sound of that. Just looking this up now. And it looks
Checking
right
your
up.
notes.
Yeah, it looks right up my alley. So I don't know why I've never heard of it. And it's on the Switch. I have no idea why I've never heard of it. It's an indie game. It looks right up my alley, and it came out in February, which could explain I was blind. So that might explain why I missed it. I'm adding that to my wish lists because that looks outstanding. Please tell me it is outstanding.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, it's good. I think it's the sort of thing that will resonate with you more.
Yeah,
I enjoy it, but because of the way that I enjoy games, and the way that particularly I enjoy games that are thought of as being of older genres, like arcade, because I just prefer arcade games. I want arcade games to be arcade games, and it's a mick take of arcade games basically.
Yeah.
So it looks like an old one. It sort of plays like an old one, but all of the way that it's structured, every single thing about it is very, very modern. So it's like going, yeah, remember when games were dead hard? Well, yeah, this will be dead hard, but it doesn't matter because you can keep continuing. Oh, remember when you had to go back to the beginning of the level? Well, you don't have to do that because it'll restart from where you are. And it just like, it has these like quality of life improvements from modern games, but that they make, even though it's a pastiche, it feels like a modern game, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That I suppose I could see that bugging a little bit. That you're self-aware. You don't need to keep telling me you're self-aware, kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll bug nobody except me, pretty much. But I think you'll like it. Yeah, I don't know how much it is on Switch. It was about £5.50 in the sale on Steam, and it was like
showing us £8 at the moment. Right. So wait for a sale.
Well, no, I was going to say for you, £8 I think is probably absolutely fine for what you get. Doesn't seem overpriced.
I might check my my credit on the Switch account and see if I've got enough left to maybe pick that up. But yeah, no, you've piqued my interest 100% on that one. It does look really good, and the sort of thing I really do like.
Nice. See, that's my what's it called for the day?
Deed.
Yeah, let's go with Deed.
Indeed, let's go with Deed. Talking of retro games, given a modern twist, we can segue straight into Unmetal, which is a retro-inspired game the original Metal Gear, right? So obviously, depending on the age of people listening to this, when you hear Metal Gear, you either go, "Oh, I remember that back on the MSX and other systems around that era," or you go, "What, the PlayStation 1 game?" No, this is not based on the PlayStation 1 game. This is based on Metal Gear, not Metal Gear Solid. And it's kind of this. It plays very, very similar to the original Metal Gear game. You do a lot of sneaking around, but there is some action in there as well. And much like you said with like Speed Limit, where it does a lot of modernization with it, this does a lot of that as well. So it does a lot of things that it's needed to bring it into the modern day. And it doesn't take itself seriously, but it does at the same time. So the gameplay loop in it is quite serious, but really well made, structured really well. But playing it at the moment, and I can't remember if this is out of early access. No, this is out. No, it's not. It's out in summer. I'm getting this early, so consider this just a quick review on the demo. I am not breaking any embargoes. I am just checking my notes. I'm not breaking any embargoes.
We are professional.
So professional. Yes, we are. Right. Okay. Bear with me 2 seconds.
While you're doing that, in terms of start off, what platform is it on?
It's on Steam.
Oh, right. It's a Steam game. Okay. And visually, what's it like?
It's like the original Metal Gear.
So they've gone for it again, pastiche kind of.
Yeah. And I can preview. So this is a preview of the game. So right, okay, we're safe. And yeah, so what it's kind of got that serious overtone to it, but it uses humour as well. So it kind of goes, hey, do you remember the 80s? Do you remember when games were like this? Do you remember when action was like this? And it's got a lot of reference humour in it to a degree. And I'm undecided on the early parts that I've played of this if I like that or if I'm totally fed up with it. The trailer makes it obvious. When you watch a trailer, it does literally the first lines are mimicking the A-Team. And then there's a few other references to some other 80s TV shows and films. And in the trailer, it works. And it's like, oh, yeah, I get it. That's funny. And you kind of go, yeah, okay. That's piqued my interest. In the game, it's there. It's not over the top. But there's enough of it where I'm kind of, when I finished playing the early parts, I went, can I put up with this? And honestly, my answer is, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. So the idea is you've got to uncover this plot that's going on, and you're trying to escape from an enemy base because you've been locked up for a crime you didn't commit.
Okay,
which is quite, so yeah, I don't know, there's a bit A-Team there, but you're a lone soldier with that one. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's you're trying to escape and uncover this plot that's going on. I won't talk about any of the actual story part beyond that, actually, because again, it's a preview. But I'm having fun with it. It's kind of like it's so many retro-inspired bits going on, but it has been given a real modern upgrade that works. It's like we spoke about earlier on Bomberman and how that would be better just literally just going, hey, here's Bomberman, have at it. With this, no, you've got to do things. You've got inventory management to do, but it's done in a more modern take than how it used to be. And there's a huge arsenal of equipment that you can get, of guns and things like that, grenades, blah, 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 blah. But it mixes action with sneaky bits and stealth, and it just works really, really well. It's due out this summer. I am playing a preview build of it. I don't know what else they've got to do to it, in all fairness, because it feels really nice to play. Honestly, I think if anything's going to hold it back, it's going to be reference humour.
Right.
I don't like... Right. Reference humour's fine in context. So, hey, do you remember Metal Gear? Do you remember the A-Team? Fine, done. That's enough. I get it. Don't reference. But in trying to be subtle, they're trying to be clever with it. And that's almost worse than when you see, modern comedy films, what are they called? Parody films.
Yeah.
And it's just like you went from the subtleness of Airplane and even the original Scary Movie where there was a good plot behind it, and then they used humor that you go, I remember that. That's kind of like that film, but it wasn't in your face. And then all the modern ones are just, hey, do you remember this scene from this film? Yeah, no, that I don't like things like that. And this tries to do the subtle thing, but not needed. It's not needed. The game's good enough to stand on its own, just with that intro going, hey, it's Metal Gear, but we've given it a bit of an A-Team story.
Yeah.
That's enough. But it's a good game. Good game in preview. Can't wait to see where it goes, and I'll definitely be playing more of this on full release. But yeah, that's Unmetal.
Right, yeah. Yeah, just looking at it now, visually it looks quite nice.
Yeah, it's a Metal Gear game.
Totally. Which is funny because over in... I don't know how big it was in the States, because it never came out on anything other than the MSX and the NES back in the day. And the NES was nothing in the UK because it was just too expensive and all the games were too expensive.
Yeah.
So Metal Gear had no impact in this country, in the UK, rather, until Metal Gear Solid, really.
Yeah.
There were obviously a few people who were total nerds who knew of it, but I'm a total nerd and I didn't know anything about it until Solid, really. So it's a funny one to go after, but as long as the core of the game's good, it might do quite well, I guess.
Yeah, no, again, there's nothing wrong with it, and some people might absolutely love the reference humour. But then who's it aimed at? Because if it's aimed from our age, who remember the 80s, then don't. and young people aren't going to get the constant reference humor. But it's not. It doesn't ruin it. It's so weird to try and explain that side of it because it doesn't ruin it. I still really enjoyed it, but I'm just worried that long term or over the length of the full game, if it carries on and it isn't just an intro thing, just to sort of go set things up more, then it might just bug me too much. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't want people to focus on that because you can get the demo on Steam now, I believe, and it is fantastic gameplay wise. Oh, really, really good. Just that little bit, and I feel bad that I've concentrated on that bit. So gameplay wise, excellent. The modern updates with it works spectacularly well. You feel like you're playing a retro game as you remember, not as they actually were.
Awesome. That's good. It's one of those that kind of fits into the thing of, oh, you know, money on the table. Why has it not been done before kind of a thing? It's like, yeah, God, why hasn't anybody done that? So,
also, where's my 18 game?
Yeah, well, there is that. There was a specky one, I think.
But I think, you know, when you look at 4-player games and stuff like that now, I think you could make a good 18 game.
Well, absolutely. A builder game, you know. Like, what's that one? Not Ratchet and Clank, the other one.
Dragon Quest Builders?
No. The cutesy one. The bear guy and his mate.
What, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts?
That's the one.
People don't like that game. Oh, I might talk about that another day because I really thought people liked that game. People didn't like that game.
Ooh. That's interesting, that. I wonder why people didn't like it. Do you think they didn't like it because of that kind of dreams /
Little Big Planet?
Yeah, Little Big Planet. Yeah. Is it like that in that they get something like core quite wrong with it that just wrecks the rest of it? Or is it just, I don't know.
I think because it took a side swipe at the original games at the very start. I honestly don't know. I played it and enjoyed it. And I've been watching videos over the past couple of months, and every so often people just really rag on Nuts and Bolts. It's like being sort of like being in a bubble and going, do you know what I really loved as a kid? What? I really loved Jibble Fix It. Oh, I wonder what people think of Jibble Fix It these days. Oh my goodness. Wow. So, but yeah, people really didn't like Nuts and Bolts. So yeah, but an 18 game. Oh my God, you could do an 8. But no, my mind's going. We'll talk about this another time. Otherwise, we're going to go way off subject. So talk about what you've been playing, Stu.
Well, I was playing Virtual On, which I mentioned briefly, I think last week or the week before. And it's such a good game. But it's a great lead-in to talk about games that are only good or only really fly when you use the dedicated controller.
Yes.
Because there's a huge thing there for that, I think. And like some, obviously like all gun games, but specifically like Silent Scope. And I don't know how many of our audience will have played that, but so it was an arcade game with a great big gun bolted to it because you're a sniper.
Yeah.
But the specifics of it were that the scope in the gun was its own screen. And so when you moved the gun on the cabinet, you were pointing a reticle as you normally do, like on the screen. But also when you looked through the viewfinder, you got the zoomed in view. Yeah. And you needed to use both because you needed your peripheral vision to see where the next enemy was going to be. And then you needed the zoom in view to actually be able to target their body properly. That was genius, but pointless without the gun, you know?
Yeah, it's a game that didn't translate to home consoles at all.
That's a more succinct way of putting it, definitely. So yeah, it's there's quite a few like that. Virtual On is definitely one of them because I've tried to play a few of these style mech games with analog sticks and it doesn't work because they're not responsive enough for what you need to do. Yeah, because you need to go from one side of the stick to the other, to use really technical language. Sorry about that. So fast, you know, it needs to be instant, really. And it's just perfectly designed for two, you know, digital joysticks to do that. So yeah, I mean, for anyone, who doesn't know Virtual On, but I'm sure a lot of people do. It's a mech arena battle game, 1-on-1. And you run around and shoot each other and hit each other and fly a little bit, as you'd expect from a mech game, but with the twin sticks. you've got a combination of like, well, really kind of like tank controls, a bit like Battlezone. So pushing both forward makes you run forward, back, back, but two to the left makes you strafe, two to the right makes you strafe the other way. But you can do.
You put your hands on your hips.
Yeah. You put your left foot in and your left foot out. But things like, pushing one forward and one back makes you rotate on the spot, and etc. And you can combine them so that you've basically got infinite, well, not infinite, but all the movement possibilities pretty much. So with that device, it's so good. And I got one dirt cheap, as I mentioned last time when I was talking about Smash TV. And yeah, it's just great, but would I recommend playing it without it? Nah, not at all. Would I recommend playing it with it? Yes, absolutely. So, there's a whole thing we could talk about with that. But is there something recently that you've played that has to have the dedicated controller, or otherwise it's garbage?
Flight Simulator.
Right, yeah.
No, I've not got. Again, this is something I'd love to have. I haven't got the room. I haven't got the money. And I have children, but I would love to have the proper yoke and everything, the pedals, the lot set up to play Flight Sim. But I've got, thanks to you sending it back, fixing it and modding it and sending back, I've got my flight stick, and I tried playing Flight Sim without it when I sent it to you, and it just wasn't enjoyable with the flight stick. Oh my God, it feels so good. Because, I know it's not the actual controls. I mean, unless you have got the money to get yourself the actual controls made up for every single plane within that game, you've got to have some degree of this isn't right. But yeah, I can't play Flight Sim without the flight stick. It's just not the same.
Yeah. There's a surprisingly large amount of games like it, like shooters like R-Type Final 2, which is very recent. Like, you can play it with the pad, but if you're gonna control it with the D-pad, that's gonna start being quite achy quite soon. If you play it with the analog stick, that's fine, but it's more travel, it's slower, it's it's as precise, but you can't change direction anywhere near as quickly. So you need a joystick, and when you use a joystick, it really flies. It flies. So yeah, there's still a lot. Surprisingly large amount of it about, like driving games. Like you can play a fairly average driving game like Dirt 5, which we talked about week after week after week.
with emphasis on the average.
Yes, indeed. But you play that with a wheel, and it's way better. It's like, it doesn't make it an amazing game, but it certainly makes it much more of a fun experience. So yeah, it is so important.
Duck Hunt, Point Blank, Time Crisis, need a gun. The gun con was one of the greatest accessories ever made for a home console for me. It's a shame Nintendo didn't do more with their light gun. But yeah, the gun con for Time Crisis, House of the Dead, Point Blank, all of those games. Oh my God, that was an experience. That was almost when you talk about, it's like having the arcade in your home. That's the closest we ever got to having the arcade in your home, was a gun con set up and Time Crisis.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's the best dedicated controller at a low price point that has probably ever been released.
Now, the issue with having one of those now, if you're not the demographic the police like, and you live in America, there's a chance you'll get shot for playing that.
Yeah.
Sorry to get all serious there, but I can see maybe why the likes of Namco don't look at that and go, let's put that back out. That'll be fine.
Yeah. I mentioned a little while ago how it's a little bit odd that they haven't gone for all this stuff in VR, because there are a lot of VR shooter games, and you could quite easily just get something as good as the best ones like Robo Recall, which out of the ones I've played is by far the best. And get a Time Crisis, get a Virtual Cop, get a Point Blank in there, and Bob's your uncle. But VR, I don't know, not doing very well.
So here's my argument against that. I played a couple of the Call of Duties on Wii, and one like early ones, like you use like the nunchuck to move about, and then you press the button, like pointed your Wii remote at the screen, which is fine. And then I think one of the later ones allowed you to do it properly in the in like the gun grip thing you could buy, the plasticky tat.
Yeah.
There was one of those you bought that made you hold it like a gun, which felt much, much better. Not great because it was a Wii game and it just didn't play that well, but it felt much better because you was holding it in the position of a rifle. Now, in VR, with the VR controllers, I still think you'd lose something playing Time Crisis using those controllers. I think you physically need a screen, proper screen, and you need a gun. Because you've got to be able to get that feel. I think you've got to be holding that weapon. And I don't think you can replicate that with any kind of controller setup, whether it's a virtual, those weird like VR controllers, whether it's a normal controller, whatever. I don't think you can get that feeling. It has to be a gun con.
Okay. I mean, I
personally.
Right. I mean, I've used the Oculus controllers for a couple of years now, and they really do. When you've got a gun in the game and you're holding that pistol grip, it does kind of feel like it. I mean, the drawback I think is, and I've mentioned this, so I won't go in. Yeah, I mentioned it in the past, so I won't go into too much detail. Is that whole thing of, you're right about it being a screen in that you're pointing at a point on the screen as quickly as you can, whereas in VR it's much more like the real world. So you're moving, all of your body around to point at a particular point. So it's very, very different feeling. It's not like a shooting gallery. It's much more like, as it would be in real life.
Yeah.
That would be a bit of a drawback. But I do think if VR was bigger than it is, I think there would be a kind of, right, because I've got some great ideas for it already. Like I would make all the boxes kind of 3/4 height on the body, so that the ducking behind it, like you did with the button on Time Crisis, would be easy for people, but still require a bit of thought and skill. I would make the hit boxes really big so that it's really quite easy to hit people, but I would have them pop up really fast, whack-a-mole style, at different parts of the screen. So I've got some great ideas that you could use to get it back to that kind of experience. But as I say, that's money left on the table, which is the theme of the episode, and probably what we're going to call the episode as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. But just to reiterate my point, though, and I'm gonna die on a hill over this one. All right, I can prove why a gun's better than a controller. Walking down the road a few weeks back, and this guy comes towards me, and I threw my Xbox controller at him. Didn't do a thing. He kind of dodged it and just went, "What you doing?" I went, "Oh, okay." Then I pulled out my Glock and I shot him in the face. So I'm just saying, guns are better.
Well, you see, ironically, I've killed more people with a controller than a gun, because I just beat them to death. Whereas I can't afford the bullets for my Glock, so it just sits there really.
Mental Health Gaming would just like to point out, we do not condone gun violence, and that was just a bit. So please take that as it was, a little bit of humour. Thank you very much.
Yep, disclaimer. We got the Segway bumper. Have you heard it yet, by the way?
I have, yes, I liked it.
It's genius. I love it.
Yeah,
I would think it's genius because I did it. But
no, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
we need a disclaimer.
Yeah. You're probably the best disclaimer voice, because you've got a more a good tone to your voice, whereas I sound sarcastic all the time, or kind of it may be insincere with things I don't know.
Okay, we'll sort one out.
Talking of sounding insincere, I spoke to a guy from Belgium last week. More on that in the future, and he just like, "I really like your accent," and I was like, "You do?" And he was like, "Yes." I don't. I've often heard people say they like my voice, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. I sound like a knobhead.
That's more your personality than your accent, though.
Yeah. But I was like, people can't like my voice. That doesn't compute with me whatsoever. But apparently, I've got a decent voice.
There you go. Big hit in Belgium. There you go.
Yeah. I might sing, get my number one in Belgium. I'll be like the Belgium David Hasselhoff.
Oh no! Now we've got another title for the podcast.
Well, there you go. The Belgium David Hasselhoff. That could be me.
Let's go with it. Awesome.
Oh dear. So anyway, I can't even segue that into my next game.
Whoa, more games! Wow.
I've got one more I want to talk about. It's my game of the week as well. Do you reckon
Nice.
David Hasselhoff has ever been bored in his trailer and sat there playing cards on his own?
Yes.
And do you reckon when he's been doing that, people have been maybe looking through the window at him?
Yes.
And he's been a bit nervous. Do you reckon there could be a solitaire conspiracy?
Yes. I'm just going to say yes to all.
Yes,
I was just going to say yes
saved
to
it.
us. Yes, he did.
I've been playing the solitaire conspiracy again. This time on the Switch.
I remember you talking about it and loving it. Yeah.
Yes, and it was pre-embargo when I wanted to talk about it the other week. My God, I love this game. So I think I've said before, there's 2 developers out there that if they put their name on something, I'm getting it. One being Sam Barlow. By the way, Immortality looks just on the 10-second teaser. Yes, please. All it said was Immortality, Sam Barlow. I'm like, I'm in. And the other is Mike Biffle. Put their names on a game, I'm in. And Solitaire Conspiracy is a Mike Biffle short. It's what started out as just, I suppose, like just a fun little thing for him to make. And you basically, there's this conspiracy plot that's going on, and to get through the levels, you have to play these games of solitaire to unlock the secrets and get to, do some espionage. And it's all just done through this solitaire game. So imagine like Murder by Numbers, where to solve cases, you've got to do not Sudoku, Picross, but instead of doing that, you're doing solitaire games. And it's got FMV, love FMV, cutscenes in it, starring Greg Miller as, do you remember? Greg?
The BMX guy.
Yeah. But we'll call back to old episodes, but it's Greg, something. But yeah, it's Greg Miller. He plays Jim Ratio in it, he guides you through. I won't ruin anything, but because Greg Miller is fantastic in it. Did not realise he can act. Anyway, it's exactly the same game. I've spoke about it. I've got a video about it on YouTube. I've spoke about it on the podcast before. I absolutely adore this game. It's been remade on the Switch. A couple of little updates with it. So you got like this map you move around now, which gives it a bit more flavour. All the extra bits added to the PC version are there now. So there's like these slightly different modes. There's a daily mode. There's a skirmish where you can play continuously. So you go until you lose. There's a countdown mode where you're racing against the clock and playing solitaire. And yeah, you just do that. And the daily mode is really good because it's like the Spelunky daily mode, daily runs and stuff like that. Really, really good. But what I really want to talk about with this is just one button on the Switch that the developers have put in. I don't know if this might Biffle directly or the developers within the team that have done it, that if he's had anyone, like depending on who he's had working on it, and is accessibility built directly into the game. Now, with the Solitaire Conspiracy, you're dealing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of cards, sometimes with about 10 cards in a row and stuff like that, and they're quite difficult to see. Good on a PC, big screen, that's fine. On the Switch, it all gets shrunk down. So press the R button, and it zooms in on the cards. Makes it easy to read.
Cool.
I spend most of my time playing with the R button held in. Be nice for it to be a toggle, but I'm not going to complain. And it zooms in enough that you can read the cards without having to squint too hard. And built-in accessibility. Yeah. I'm just going to go an actual full-blown, you can have an applause, because that is how you do accessibility. You look at what's going to cause this game to be difficult to play? Oh, yeah, the text and everything's a bit small. What could we do? Let's allow people to zoom in.
That's great. We've been banging the drum for this for ages.
Yeah.
Weeks and weeks and weeks that games need more of this. So I'm really, really chuffed for you.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and for everybody.
I mean, it's not perfect. I still think... I mean, you can change the themes, but there's still possibly some colour-blind issues that on some bits. I can't remember in the options properly if I saw anything with colour-blind modes or anything like that. There's so many different agent special skills in there that I would like something more obvious to explain what that skill does, rather than you having to kind of remember. But honestly, it's a great game as it is. And adding that one little bit of accessibility opens it up to so many more people. because not only can you do that, obviously you can use the Switch's inbuilt zoom function. You can then use that on top, so you don't have to zoom in as far with the zoom function on the Switch. You can only bring it in slightly if you need, and still use the zoom function within the game, and it adjusts to people who need it. Absolute brilliance. Yeah, but also Greg Miller's amazing. But yeah, Solitaire Conspiracy, Mike Biffle, well done. Absolutely well done. Can't praise it enough. Just for that, even if you don't play the game much, buy it, support them, because I want to see more of this.
Cool. So Solitaire Conspiracy, how much is it on the Switch?
I haven't got a clue. I got a code. I haven't
Cool.
checked. It could be 40 quid and it'll be worth it. It's about 11 quid on Steam, so I'd imagine 11, 12 pound on... No, it's not. It's about 10 pound on Steam, sorry. So I'd imagine about that, maybe 12 quid. I don't know if there's a Switch tax. It's worth it, honestly.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out because I really do like Solitaire as well, on top of everything else. Awesome. Yeah, it's apparently right at this moment, at least in the UK, it's $7.99 because it's got 20% off.
What's that, on Switch?
On the Switch.
Oh, yes. No, we'll definitely buy it. Yes, buy it. Don't hesitate. Please include me in your next game, Mike Biffle, because I'm always waxing lyrical about your stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're completely his brand champion. He needs you.
Yeah,
he needs
me.
you.
That would be my dream. If ever I got to work on a game, if you got Mike Biffle to work with Sam Barlow and include the actor Rupert Booth, then get me involved with that. That I will die a happy person.
Fair play. Don't die, Mr. Marsh.
Oh my God. Yeah, there we go. Sam, Mike, because we're on first name terms. Let's make it. Let's do it. And that's the mystery. It's MX Marsh.
Do apologise?
No, it's fine. I've only just got used to doing that. Trying to work out how to change all my pronouns and everything. Do you know you can't do it on a lot of places? You've got to have Mr. Ms. Mrs.
Rubbish, isn't
Doctor, Professor. Yeah, you can't just... There's no non-binary option on many companies. Get that sorted.
Yes.
It's just an easy thing. Either take out the that box or add other options. Simple as that, really. I said the only people that should ever be pissed off at those sort of things are web developers, because they're the ones who have got to write the extra code. Do it. There's no reason not to. Anyway, talking of Sam Barlow, who has a game coming out that was announced at E3, we can segue into a bit of E3 chat.
Go for it.
I'm going to preempt this by going, this makes me a massive hypocrite, okay? So, Immortality is coming out by Sam Barlow. I've mentioned already, I saw a 10-second teaser trailer, and I cannot wait. My expectations are sky high, based on what he done with Her Story and Telling Lies. I cannot wait. By the way, Telling Lies, did you ever watch Series 9 of Scrubs, where they went and was in the university instead?
Yeah, but I can barely remember it was that long ago, but yeah.
So, do you know, the main actress in that, the actress who played Lucy in that, who was the new JD, so to speak, she was the central character. She was in Telling Lies. Now, Telling Lies was that good, I didn't actually realise that was her, because she was fantastic in that. But there you go. Just a little tidbit.
Right, okay.
Just a little tidbit. But yeah, Sam Barlow's games are amazing. I am stocking up on post-it notes already. I cannot wait. Expectations are high. Now, that's the hypocritical bit out the way. One thing I've noticed about E3, people raise their expectations to levels that are just not possible to match, especially this year. I don't know what people were expecting from E3 this year. You know, especially from Japanese developers who have struggled with the whole work from home thing, because it's just not part of their culture.
Yeah.
And so the game development in Japan has fallen. So people went into certain things, especially like the Nintendo one, going, where's this game? Where's this game? Why is this so slow? Or where's my Metroid Prime 4? Not happening. It's not going to go that quickly. But, you know, everything's been pushed back for most people, at least months. Japan, you're probably looking at a lot of games being pushed back a couple of years because of everything that's been going on. So tone down those expectations just a little bit. Now, I watched E3, and people going, the Microsoft conference was dull. There wasn't much there. Square Enix wasn't anything there. Capcom, there wasn't anything there. The Capcom, I don't know why they bothered. It was all stuff that's already out or literally due out in a couple of weeks. nothing to announce. It's as though they bought the slot and went, oh, we've got nothing to put here. What shall we do? Nintendo's Direct was, I think, brilliant. But people kind of look at just the main ones again. They're looking at Microsoft, Sony, Square Enix, Bethesda. They look at those. And instead of scratching the surface and going, what's on the Future Game Show? What have Devolver done? What's on the Guerrilla Collective, the Wholesome Games Direct and things like that? It's just what's the big boys doing? And now more than ever, indies should be getting the spotlight. If you look at the indie games that have been announced, my wish list has just gone insane with what's been, what's been announced. I don't care that Ubisoft haven't announced another Division or Rainbow Six or whatever. It does not matter. It really does not matter. I don't care. The biggest news is Halo, and Microsoft always do Halo. So what? You're getting Halo still. Does not matter. There's so many good games out there. When people stop realising that AAA is where you're aiming at, that's what means a good game. It's not. There's so many good games. Nintendo still hit it out the park. We're getting a new WarioWare. We're getting Advance Wars being rebooted. Games for everyone are out there still. But yeah, I don't know what people wanted. It almost seems to be like, unless we get the Half-Life level announcement, it doesn't count. And that's sad to me. I'm excited over the number of games we're getting. Not that we haven't had the biggest game announced, because we saw what happens with the biggest games announced at E3. Look at Watch Dogs. Look at Cyberpunk. And
fair enough.
So expectations, get excited. I love the excitement of E3, but don't then allow that to go, oh, nothing happened, it was all rubbish, because it wasn't. There's so many good games, and I didn't even add everything to my wish list yet. I just run out of time and couldn't see.
I think the indie showcases were fantastic. I haven't seen very many of them. I sort of cherry picked some stuff, but all the excitement really is kind of in the indie stuff. Like, I think Sable is really jumping out at me.
Beautiful,
and I think for a lot of people, that's a really big one.
Yeah,
I'm downloading the demo, but I haven't played it yet. So, have you played the demo yet?
Nope, I refuse to play the demo just purely because I want to go in fresh on the full game. I've seen the trailer, I'm in.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, other than that, I mean, the new Metroid game,
of course, yes,
jumped out at me. I've got that on pre-order now already.
Have you got the amiibos pre-ordered?
No, I haven't, because I like some amiibos. I've even got a couple just for display. Yeah. But I won't be going in on them, no, because that's crazy.
That robot dog thing looks cool, though.
It does look good. It does.
That's one of the amiibos.
Yeah, it does. I mean, getting hold of that might be a little bit of a challenge.
I think it's all sold out already, hasn't it?
Exactly.
But that's another. Nintendo's doing their limited stock thing. That's another discussion. That I kind of want that Zelda Game & Watch.
Yeah, there's surprisingly large numbers of the Mario one still available. Like, you can actually buy it, which is mental to me for Nintendo. Yeah. Yeah.
That's tempting.
Well, the last time I looked, but it might have changed by now. But yeah.
Because now I'm kind of thinking, if they do this for all their old, like, proper core series, that could be a cool little collection to have. You got me thinking now. Oh, damn it, Nintendo.
Exactly.
But yeah, I thought it was a wonderful E3 personally, considering the circumstances. I know a lot of people were down on it. I don't know what he's expecting. Microsoft, everything's Game Pass. It's the best value in gaming. It's mental. And if you look at everything as well, everything now seems to be, it was going to run on the cloud as well. So you can play everything via the cloud.
Yeah.
So what Microsoft have done, and people will always go, oh, they don't care about just the consoles. I don't need a Series X to play, but I can still play, which is what they want. I'm sure.
That's right.
They're bringing out possibly their own dongle to put in the TV. Yes, please. We've got a Series S. It's in my son's room, but I don't always get the big TV. So to be able to launch a browser on my PC, play a bit of MLB on there, and then maybe later in the week, I can play on the TV now, and to run it through a dongle, an app on the TV. Yes. Try games out. Yes.
Precise.
they're nailing it. They're absolutely nailing it. A Forza Horizon 5 looks wonderful, and that's going to be playable, you know, via Game Pass and on possibly on the cloud as well. Yeah, genius. That's all I can say.
It's nuts, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And I put this on my wish list years ago. 12 minutes in August. That is very likely going to top many Game of the Year lists. It's on Game Pass, PC and console. Do check it out because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in that it was a very good one.
Yeah.
Considering the times we live in, particularly. But yeah, just generally, because there's a lot of innovative stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole E3 thing, the reason it's so fun, I watched all the conferences with Edith, and she loved them. She made her own list of games she wants, and she wants lots.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's really good.
She wants WarioWare. I was like, of course we're getting WarioWare. Do I look stupid? And she went, yes, Daddy.
Even I'll be getting WarioWare. So
yeah.
Yeah,
no, we're going to get that. Especially you can do it co-op now. So, yep, definitely. Mario Golf, she wants the new Monster Hunter. She's only played half hour of Monster Hunter Rise, but she wants it. So, but we won't get that yet. We'll get that when it's cheap. She wants the racing game that she saw on the Microsoft one. She wants the various cat games that she saw in the Wholesome Direct and stuff. So, yeah, she wants all the games. And she when they mentioned that Among Us was coming to the Xbox, she literally leapt off the sofa, screamed, and started dancing around the living room. Such was her excitement that within 2 minutes, Michael Huber from Easy Allies was on the phone going, that's a bit much. Some people will get that reference because he gets very excitable at E3. But yeah, no, she got very excited. I love watching that passion in her, that she's just really into video games and just, she gets it.
That's really good. It shows that, you know, I think I'm not going out too far on a limb to say that the new generation of gamers doesn't really care about graphics as much. I'm just basing that off the fact that, you know, Nintendo are so big and they're not the biggest hitters in terms of, you know,
they're playing Minecraft, Fortnite, and Among Us.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. It's great to see.
They're not even playing the Call of Duties anymore and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think they care. They just want good, fun experiences. So I honestly think the new generation, the next generation of gamers are going to be closer to what we were, but less cynical.
Yeah. But playing much shorter experiences, more communal experiences.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And they're not going to complain about women ruining their games.
Oh, yeah, please, God. Yeah, let's consign that to the past, please.
But the one game I still want to play, but it's so expensive. I want to get a DC Superhero Girls or whatever it's called, because that looks fun. But apparently it's not sold well because, one, I think it's too expensive. 50 quid for a game that's aimed at definitely young girls.
50 quid? Yikes.
Yeah. Which is a shame. But I can't justify 50 quid. I'll pick it up in a sale. But again, what is probably going to show certain developers is girls don't sell. It's not that girls don't sell. It's that tie-in games are usually crap. And people don't want to risk 50 quid on those. Release something like that you're not sure how it's going to do at a lower price point. And then your next one, if it takes off, then you can do that one more expensive. But Life is Strange is coming to the Switch. See, so much I forgot. I cannot wait for Life is Strange. Stu, will you see us out? Because I won't stop.
I know, yeah, this is getting insane now. Yeah, but okay. No, your enthusiasm is great. And I think there was, like we said, a lot of great stuff there. And it's what you need. It's what you need at the moment. And like you said, it's a good thing to have in the summer. So, yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah. But, okay. We have come to the end. People.
I won't interrupt you again.
I see what you did there. Yeah, very good. So, as usual, I promise,
honestly, I won't.
All right, okay. I'm going to actually kill you.
Done now. Done now.
Yeah. You'll be done in a minute, mate. No. So, okay. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy the footy if you're into that sort of thing, obviously. But follow us on social media. Watch all of our content on YouTube and follow us on Twitter and things like that. If you can support us on Patreon or pay for us a one-off on coffee. And other than that, have a good week, stay safe and stay sane.